I'm not going to interrupt the fucking for this. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And I'm pretty sure I'm Carl Mizell.
This is a podcast that is 90% sure that you are Carl Mizell.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other 10% is.
I don't either, but this
Maybe
is
you're a Skrull?
I could be a Skrull. I mean, I hope not. They historically have not been great, but I'm sure there's two sides to every story. No, I'm just discombobulated because this is Tuesday.
Yes, it is. It is Tuesday. What the hell are we doing recording on a Tuesday?
Yeah, this is so bizarre.
How bizarre.
Thank you. If you're listening to this on the main line, nothing has changed. But for our Patreon patrons, this episode you should have gotten 2 days ago, but you were getting it today on Wednesday, October 23rd, and we apologize for that, but as we've been saying on the socials and whatnot, as I alluded to in the post in our Patreon, we've just been up against it.
Yeah.
Lately, we had a major life change that occurred over the past week, and that is just our daughter. Mm-hmm. Has started going to daycare, which we've been very lucky to raise her here at home, but she's going into pre-K next year, and we wanted to give her sort of a ramp up like her big brother got, and preparing for the financial strain of that, along with the fact that now it's like that's a major. There are 3 days a week where there are no children.
Yeah.
In the house.
Yeah.
And I know that's supposed to be like an awesome thing, but that's especially for you. You've been a stay-at-home parent for 6.5, almost 7 years now. And this is going to be the first time that you're going to have time during the day to do stuff.
To pursue my own interests, have hobbies, try new things, or do fuck all and nothing.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've been able to really do it in a while.
Plus, I've had a lot of, day job stuff, and I've been preparing. I've got to go away for 2 back-to-back conferences tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get up at the butt crack of dawn, get up so early, and edit this and get this out to the patrons as quickly as I can and get it prepared for upload. And then I've got to go to Columbus, Ohio, for 5 days of just fun conferences.
Enjoy.
And I will. And I get to see some of my coworkers that I don't get to see very often because we're scattered to the winds. Folks from Washington State, New Jersey, Utah, all over the place coming into town. So it's gonna be nice.
Wonderful. I hope you enjoy it as much as you can for it being, 2 back-to-back corporate conferences.
Yeah, I'll be all right. I'm gonna have a bunch of episodes of this podcast to edit and record, because we're gonna try to record 2 episodes while I'm in Ohio. Our long promised Patreon bonus, our first Patreon bonus episode, Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver, and then next week's book. The name of which eludes me, but I know it's by Arsyn Quinn.
Devil's Pack. There
you go. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope that we don't have any major technical catastrophes when we're trying to do that.
Fingers crossed.
But y'all are the best listeners that we could ever hope for, and I know that you're all wonderful, caring, and supporting people who understand that life sometimes happens, and that when you get this podcast, you'll be happy whenever that is.
Yes, and we appreciate and love you very much for that.
We very much do. Is there anything that you'd like to add to all that before we get into this, or do you want to just bang it out?
No, I just want to get going. I'm starting to crash. It's Tuesday night and I'm tired. Let's go.
Bang.
All right. So this week, in lieu of Devil's Pack by Arsyn Quinn, I decided to read A Little Spark of Flame by Clio Evans. Clio Evans is another one of the authors that we have talked about many times on this show, but haven't actually read a book yet. Now we have. A Little Spark of Flame is available for $3.99 or through Kindle Unlimited, $9.99 for an Amazon paperback, or until November 1st only, for $18.99, you can buy a signed paperback with goodies included directly from Clio's website.
Is it Clio? Or is it Clio?
It is Clio.
Yeah, that is a very uniquely Michigan.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other cities in the country and the world spelled Clio Clio, but you grew up around the corner from Clio, Michigan.
I did. I grew up in the next town to the south. I grew up in Mount Morris, Michigan.
Yeah.
And that was always the big, Mount Morris Clio. Even though we were in different divisions, we'd play in sports sometimes. And I had a bunch of friends from Clio.
Yeah. But small town rivalries in little, rural Michigan towns.
Yeah. And I remember a commercial back when I learned sometimes national celebrities do local commercials. Like it was Pat Sajak when. Wheel of Fortune. I mean, Wheel of Fortune is still on, but it was like, oh, hey, fine folks in mid-Michigan can watch Wheel of Fortune in towns like Clio, and he was like mispronouncing all of these small towns around the area. But I was I was a kid, and I didn't understand. I'm like, damn it, Pat, it's Clio.
It's pronounced Clio.
And my mom's like, that's as my joke is.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, that movie hasn't even come out. Like, you're referencing a movie that's not going to come out for like 20 years.
Beach ball is bigger than puck.
Yeah, that's as my joke is.
Oh my God.
Don't watch Goon. It's amazing. Yeah. All right. With all that out of the way.
Goon. Goon. Goon.
Yep. Let's bang.
Anyway, let's do this.
Did we do our triple T's or did I already interrupt you?
You already interrupted me.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. So, A Little Spark of Flame is book 14 in the Creature Cafe series, which is a series of novellas and short novels, each of which is a fated mate's story. They have a lot of queer rep and a lot of kink, and they are a beloved series amongst the monster fuckers for good reason. So for our triple T's, we'll start with this is an MNB romance, male monster and non-binary human, so therefore automatically queer. And then I am quoting directly from the trigger page in the book. This story has bondage, dom-sub dynamics, edging, sensation play, wax play, praise, sex in a public place, mentions of losing family because of their homophobic beliefs, loneliness, feelings of not being worthy of love, choking, panty eating, collaring, a third act breakup, sexual overstimulation, sex toys, breeding kink, no pregnancy, deep throating, cock pockets, fated mates, and more. Sincerely, the barista. That was the warning page, and it's all over the goddamn place, which I fucking love.
Yeah, but cock pocket,
and I'm so glad they call it a cock pocket in the book, and I was like, oh, good. We're not making up a silly name for it. It doesn't have a weird unless you have done enough fantasy world building for me to believe that it has a proper name in another language, just call it a cock pocket.
Oh, that's where the cock lives.
Yeah, this is where the cock lives.
Again, somebody one day, my fear is that we'll get famous enough that a podcast will start to just explain all the references that we random like the cheap smut bibliography podcast.
Oh my God. It would be funny.
In episode 79, they referenced Goon, A Touch of Satan, the Mystery Science Theater 3000 edition.
Yep.
All right.
Pat Sajak.
Depression.
We reference that in every
I was
episode.
going to say, bit redundant. I know.
Okay, let's get started here. So a little bit of backstory. This is a world where monsters and humans coexist, but in a much more down low kind of fashion. Not all humans are aware. The ones who are aware are usually pretty chill about it. The barista is the common thread throughout the world of this story.
I love it.
Who signed the trigger page? Sincerely, the barista. The barista is just that, a barista, and he is also a matchmaker. He's a reputed matchmaking skill. It's brought up several times in the book that people seek him out for his matchmaking skills. So he matchmakes monsters and humans from his home base at the Creature Cafe, where he also serves coffee because he is indeed actually a barista. All kinds of creatures and pairings are represented in the series. There are couples, thruples. I think there's a couple of larger units. There's queer representation, a lot of kink, a lot of, it's just a fantastic world. In book 10, the barista actually got his own happy ending.
Oh.
And I think a lot of people thought that was when the series was going to end. But now we're on book 14. So
I was going to say.
they didn't stop talking to Clio. They just kept talking, and we kept getting books. Hooray.
And I don't think anybody's complaining.
No, absolutely not. So the barista, who is a Grim Reaper, by the way, he got his happy ending with Lucifer and a human named Trixie. And now they are happily married, and they have like a bunch of kids. And one of their kids is a girl named Layla, and she has some similar skills to she's showing some matchmaking ability and other Grim Reaper type skills. So she is being put in the position of the new matchmaker now.
Yeah, that has got to be really awkward for the barista, though, to be like matchmaking people and then showing up like 40 years later going, yeah.
Oh, and now it's time for you to die.
I'm
also the Grim Reaper.
Yeah. Side hustle.
Yeah.
Side hustle.
I don't actually know enough about this world to know whether or not like he's the only one who collects souls or like.
Yeah, not necessarily the, but a.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or anything like that. But it would be really funny if indeed you were like, hey, it's good to see you again, Ethel, Stan.
Yeah. Everybody who I'm here to see, take one step forward. Ethel, take a step back. Yeah. Anyway.
We start the book from the barista's point of view, and it is date night. And even though the kids are supposed to be out of the house all night, Layla is knocking on the door. And he decides to answer it because normally she wouldn't. So there must be something going on. She has brought a client. Someone has shown up at the cafe asking for the barista, and he's come all this way. So she decided to bring him out to say hi and to maybe let her dad get a read on him. So barista gets dressed, leaves Lucy and Trixie, his spouses, in the very precarious position that they were tied up in. And then he goes out front to take care of business.
Wait, they were like in flagrante?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Oh, yes, they were. I think if I remember correctly, the way he had them connected, if Trixie moved, it pulled on Lucifer's cock ring, and if Lucifer moved, it pulled on Trixie's nipple clamps.
So Rube Goldberg of fucking.
Seriously.
Rube Goldberg machine of fucking.
Rube Goldberg machine of
The
fuckery.
Rube Goldberg of fucking. Very complicated very complicated process to get to an orgasm.
That's called the female orgasm.
Says you.
Yeah, says me. I'm the one inside this brain making all of those little things.
From where I'm at, I'm having a blast. So I think it's. I'm like, this is awesome.
You are ridiculous. All right. So back to our story. So Layla has brought our MMC. His name is Sir Fitzroy Edward III. We call him Fitz. I firmly believe that he is called Fitz because he is Fitzwilliam Darcy coded. Because he's very dapper, English, Mothman.
Does the flap of his wings have an English accent?
Oh my God, I wish it did.
I don't know how you would do that.
Cheerio, cheerio, cheerio. As he flew away. No. So Fitz is over.
There we go. That's better. Sorry.
He's over 100 years old, but that is very young for a monster.
Oh, okay.
He wants us to know. He works as a detective assisting Scotland Yard in monster-related crimes. But for right now, he is on a visit to the United States for a couple of reasons. But the main reason is to visit the barista because he is lonely and he wants to
not be
anymore. So describing Fitz, he's a bug. Like, he looks like a bug. The mechanics of his face are never really fully described, but he's got big red eyes. I mean, he looks like the Mothman, right?
Yeah.
He's flocked in gray fur. He's got big wings. He's got antenna with little like tufts on the ends. Talons, although it is noted in the first chapter that 2 of the talons are kept short, like all good monsters.
Wow.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you when I learned why that's courteous.
Well, because you always keep your fingernails short, so you never had to worry about it.
I know, but when I learned about it, I was like, I should get a file.
Oh, yeah. You weren't filing?
Not all the time.
Oh, golly. Yeah.
No.
Keep those edges nice and rounded.
No, I get it now.
Yeah.
But it was life altering. Just from the standpoint of like, how have I not been thinking about that?
Yeah, well.
All right.
Yeah, there are a lot of blind spots.
Yeah, that was one.
Anyway, so let's get back to Fitz. So he is fully cottagecore. Like, he lives in a cottage in the English countryside and keeps his own garden and grows his own vegetables and all kinds of shit. But he also has a special interest in vintage clothing. He only wears bespoke suits, and he always wears bow ties. And the bow ties are always printed with like little lamps or little campfires or something, because he loves lamps. Has made a joke throughout the book. Fantastic. He loves lamps.
Could you guys turn that light off? It's very distracting.
Yeah, it's a lamp. I'm trying to focus on you guys, but I can't because the lamp. Yeah. But at least at one point, there is a chapter in the book called Live, Love, Lamp. And I fucking love you, Clio. I love you, Clio Evans. So he is very gentle and soft-spoken and kind and sweet. He says that he wants someone that he can love and spoil, someone who will enjoy a quiet life in the English countryside with him. And then, hey, Layla, could you maybe let the grown-ups talk alone for a second? He's a little embarrassed to say this in front of Layla, so he asks to just talk to the barista. He says, I am also a pleasure dom, and I have a very broad range of kinks, and I am looking for someone that I can spoil but also fuck the hell out of. And the barista is like, okay, buddy, yeah, no problem. Yeah,
I've got just the person.
He actually calls Layla back over. They don't talk about the sex part, but he's like, no, this is actually pretty. I think Layla can handle this. Like, you're a really nice dude, and your needs seem pretty simple. So I think Layla can handle this. And so he sends Layla off and says, call me if you have any trouble. And then he goes back inside to his spouses to continue their date night. Layla already thinks she has she thinks she already knows who it is. So she calls that person and she leaves a voicemail that basically says, hey, this is Layla. I don't know if you remember me, but you briefly dated my twin brother. And anyway, I think your soulmate is a posh Mothman. And come to Creature Cafe at 10 a.m. on Friday if you like want to meet your fate or whatever. I know that sounds horrible. Like, I know this sounds weird, but come if you want to. And that is just enough to intrigue our non-binary MC or them MC, Sage. Sage is 32. They are non-binary and they use they, them pronouns, although they will accept she, her by appearance. They work from home as a game designer and haven't really made a lot of friends since they moved to this particular city, which is one of the reasons why they accepted this phone call. Because at the very least, they were like, the Mothman?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been lonely enough to be like, fuck it, I'll hang out with Mothman.
Yeah, right?
Shit. Could be cool.
But also, Luca, Layla's twin brother, is actually like a really cool dude and was nice. And even though they dated and it didn't work out, like, Sage trusts him. Mm-hmm. So they're going to go to the cafe and meet up. They get to the cafe. Oh, I didn't finish describing them. They have emerald green hair and very big expressive eyes, and they are very shy and reserved. So they get to the cafe. They meet a super hot Mothman. Like, their initial impression is, holy shit, the Mothman is fucking hot. Mm-mm. I wasn't expecting that.
You never are.
Right? Their meeting is very sweet. Each of them gets a coffee. They have a nice conversation. Sage is very charmed by Fitz, and they find him very easy to talk to. And Fitz just thinks that Sage is a charming and delightful And he's like, I want to spend the rest of my life with you after knowing you for 10 minutes. You're just wonderful. He's so charmed by them. So they have a getting to know you conversation. Sage is a night owl, which is cool because Fitz is a moth. Sage does not like the beach or going to lakes or oceans, which is cool because Fitz is a moth and he can't swim.
Historically not great swimmers.
Yeah. Sage doesn't like peanut butter. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Oh, you said Sage.
Yeah,
Sage. I thought you said Fitz.
Oh, sorry, no.
Fuck that particular person.
Fuck that particular person. That's because Carl's safe food is peanut butter.
Like 8% peanut butter any given day.
Peanut butter and eggs.
Yeah, peanut butter. You give me peanut butter and eggs and some carb balanced tortillas.
Yeah.
Carb balanced tortillas. I'm set.
Yep. All the rest of it's just accoutrement.
Yep.
Let's see. So after that, they come out and discuss their kinks right up front, which is great because they were really, really nervous about doing it. And I'm so proud of them because they actually got the words out. They tell Fitz that they are open to a lot of different kinks and that they have been in the community for a long time. So they understand their own boundaries and have an understanding of what they like and what they don't like. So we're not like going magic dom sub relationship this time. They already have a safe word, which we get into later. And they understand where their hard limits are and what may be difficult, but et cetera, et cetera. Fitz says that he likes breath play, wax play, sensation play, overstimulation, making someone cry because they feel so good, praising and rewarding. And like, the list is quite long. And Sage is like, I'm down. Okay. Sure, but just so you know, the praise stuff might be kind of hard for me to deal with. That comes up multiple times in the book, and I'm not really going to focus on it, but there are a couple points where like the praise is what makes them have to safe word.
Okay.
Or close to safe wording because that's so much harder for them. So Fitz and Sage agree to have Sage taxi out to Fitz's cottage where he's staying in the country for the weekend. They will come on Friday evening and they will stay until either Sunday night or Monday morning. I can't remember. He is going to cook all the meals. He has entertainments planned and he's really very excited, and they are trying to be excited, but they are very hesitant because they are emotionally quite damaged. Skip to that night. He cooks dinner. I can't remember what he cooked, but it sounded amazing. They arrive for the evening. Everything is super adorable. When they get to his doorstep, they have a quick conversation, and this is the first time that they call him sir. They say it in a jokey way. I think they're like, "You're very charming, sir," and he's like,
Do that again.
Do it again. Because he really likes being called sir.
Do that
he asks,
some more.
Yeah. He asks to kiss them, and they kiss for the first time. I couldn't quite understand, but I'm 99% sure that Fitz has a proboscis.
No.
Yeah. It's not really focused on too much.
Thank God.
But 99%. Sage thought it was hot as fuck, though. Like, Sage thought this kiss was great. So
as long as they're into it.
Yeah. I'm here for it because they're here for it. I laughed out loud when I read this the first time.
And the second time.
Yeah. Fitz had the thought, I want to make them come and then eat their underwear. because he's a moth. Because he's moth. And
it's fucking genius.
Genius. It's so funny.
Again. That is my joke.
That is my joke. It's so fucking funny. So they go inside. They enjoy dinner together. They discuss themselves a little more. A little more getting to know you conversation. And then they also confirm Sage's safe words and some physical limitations. Sage has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome with hypermobility issues. So they cannot be restrained with your traditional restraints. It might hurt them. And Fitz is like, hell yeah, I have bondage tape. Easy solve. Once they finish this conversation, they finish consuming their food and then let the fucking begin.
Wait, could maybe some butt silk work? Like, some moths can do butt silk.
Some moths can, but I don't think they can in moth form. I think only in larval form.
Well, I thought some moths could still make silk. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. Well, this one can't.
I'm not going to interrupt the fucking for this. Let's go.
So the name of this chapter is called Edging.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it fucking is. So first, Fitz collars Sage. At their request, they wanted to be collared, so he got them a collar, and uses bondage tape to secure them, I think, by the hands and the ankles, and then flops them on his king-sized bed and goes like full Patience of Job dom mode, slowly torturing them with sensation, not cruelly, but
right.
They're just like, could this go faster, please? Could this please go faster? And he's like, no, no, I don't think it will. And they're like, you're mean. You're so mean. He's stripping down clothes, playing with their body, eventually starts playing with their pussy, their nipples. He eats them out for a while. There's a lot about touch, or there's a lot about smell and taste, and I don't want to talk about the smelling.
Or the
tasting is fine.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to talk about the smelling. And then when Sage is like fully screaming, begging to come, he finally gets the lube out. And now we can discuss Fitz's weird dick.
I would be so shocked if you're like, no, man, it's just no
yeah,
fucking
it's normal,
dick.
regular dick.
Normal old dick.
So it's big.
Yeah.
It's red.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridged.
Aww.
It's tapered.
Mm.
And it's got tendrils or pincers or claspers.
Oh, God. No. Oh. Okay.
So it lives inside of his cock pocket.
Thank God.
And the claspers kind of come out first, and then the dick comes out.
No.
It just sort of spreads out. Present the dick.
Sage, run.
The dickening. Apparently, the claspers also emit like an aphrodisiac chemical on contact. So that's cool. Appreciate you.
Well, yeah, they'd have to.
Because otherwise you'd be like, ah!
Yeah, otherwise you'd be screaming bloody murder. Well, I know this is a different world, but...
Screaming bloody murder still, but in a better way, I guess.
I suppose if that's what you're into.
So they fuck. It is awesome. Fitz gets the first orgasm on his cock, which is what he wanted. That's why he was edging them for so long, because he wanted them to come on his dick the first time. Okay, great. But they were still like, and I felt bad for them. Let's see here. Once they finish, everybody comes, everything's great. They snuggle up for a bit, and they have some dirty pillow talk about Fitz waking them up with his tongue. That gets Fitz going again. So then they blow him, and then they ask to be used and to have their face fucked. So he straddles their chest and fully fucks their face, tear streamy. They wore the streaky mascara on purpose. Like, this is what they wanted. It was great. They had a fantastic time. In all of the dominant sequences, Fitz always calls Sage little toy or good toy. And then in all their romantic sequences, he always calls them little flame. And I think that's just so cute, especially because he's a moth.
Again, yes,
She is his flame.
This is some top-notch punning.
I'm telling you
Cleo's
what,
part.
It's so good. So once they come down from that second round, Fitz goes to get Sage like some water and a chocolate bar. But when he gets back, they are snoring. So he wakes them up to have them drink the water, and they are in their very subby way like, do we have to? Because subs hate water. We know this. It is fact. And once they sleep, or once they finish that water, they go to sleep, and he lets them sleep for a couple of hours. And then they wake up to him indeed eating them out while consuming their underwear.
You know, it's a funny joke, but when you hear it actually happening, like in practice.
It was so he was like ripping strips of it off and like eating it. While he was also eating them out. So he was like getting the sauce right from the source.
Yeah.
To put the The underpants noodles. Okay.
The underpants noodles. God.
I'm sorry.
I
didn't mean to say it like that.
That
but
sounds like
it sounds like a band name.
It was you say it sounds like a band name, or it sounds like a first attempt at a Casper Baby Pants song title, and he's just like, no.
Underpants noodles sounds like the kind of thing that you have to tell people they're not allowed to tell their kids that's what their penis is, because they have to call it a penis. Like, we have to use the real words, Aunt Shirley. You can't call it an underpants noodle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So Fitz eats their underwear.
No.
They think it's hot as hell. They're like, I love that, but I'm going to run onto underwear. And he's like, it's fine. I'm 100 years old. I've been saving money for a long time. I've got an underwear fund.
Yeah.
Fund my underwear eating habit. I think the name of this chapter was Panty Muncher, which is just fucking delightful.
I'm just glad that A, you're not that into this, and B, you don't really wear underpants.
I don't like them. I find them very constricting.
Because you're never going to be like, say, and I'm going to be like, I am
physically incapable,
and also not a moth.
Yeah, I'm not a moth. And also I've always found the idea of edible underwear to be kind of gross
and off-putting.
Not because you would eat them, but because they're mostly made of sugar, and putting them anywhere near a vagina in particular is very bad for you.
It's the baddest of bad
so
news
bad
bears.
for you. Like, you could really only put them on to have them immediately taken off of you.
Yeah.
But when you're a fucking moth, you can just eat your partner's underwear, which is what Fitz did. Anyway, so they're not tired anymore after all of that, after they have the orgasms and the underwear is all eaten. So they spend the rest of the night watching like 80s sci-fi movies and snuggling in bed and chatting. Sage describes losing their family when they came out, moving away from the people who rejected them, and then trying to make a new life in the city, which is very hard when you work from home, especially because they're a game designer and they work from home. And also when you have been as wounded as they have.
I can't imagine. I work from home most days, and I can't imagine not being able to just walk into the other room and shoot the shit with you for a couple minutes. Like you're basically like my coworker.
Yeah.
You know, during business hours.
Mm-hmm.
That would dry. Oh,
it would be quite bad.
But then again, if you weren't here, I would be single. I would probably, I'd probably spring for like a shared office space. There's a couple around here that are relatively inexpensive. I'd probably have the disposable income for a couple $100 a month and just have a place to go so I wasn't at home.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway.
But we don't have to worry about that.
Fuck no, we don't.
So right back to my notes. This was a really sad conversation, and I cried.
Yeah.
And I did cry. Specifically because Sage, I felt a lot for them. I felt a lot of feelings for them. Anyway, so the next day, Fitz takes them on a date. The first thing they do is they go and they visit his Minotaur friend, whose name is Rum. He is featured in book 3 called A Little Lick of Lust, and he is a painter, and he is also a Minotaur. I said that. Fitz has commissioned a painting from him and wants to go and see it while he's in the country. They fly, which Sage finds terrifying because they actually just fly there, Mothman style.
No.
Yes.
Hate it.
To visit Rum and his mate, who is a woman named Penny. And they have a glass of wine and a chat, and they see this painting, which is this really beautiful pastoral scene of a big monster orgy. Because that's what everything Rum paints is, erotic or sexual, but he also has a really beautiful style. I imagined a very sort of like Rembrandt kind of style, but monster orgy.
Monster orgies. Morgies, yeah.
Morgies, exactly. They talk with Rum and Penny for a little while, and then they leave. And Fitz takes Sage to a museum where Rum has used some connections to get them in for the night by themselves. They enjoy the art together. They walk around. They talk. It's a really lovely time. And then they get horny as fuck. Specifically, Sage gets super horny. And Sage wants to get dick down in this gallery. But Fitz has other plans. So he just teases them a bunch. And then they drop down on their knees. And they're like, we're doing this. I'm sucking your dick right now.
Okay.
So they start sucking his dick in the gallery and like humping his boot, like grinding against his boot to get off. And he is encouraging this until they come. He comes. It's fantastic. And then he tells them that he is proud of them, and they start crying because they can't handle the praise is what does it. So he collects them. They finish up their, like, they get all cleaned up and finish their gallery tour, and he's like, why don't I take you home? We will get resituated and resettled, because they're like, I want to do more stuff with you. I don't want this to be the end of our evening. I don't want my crying to be the end of what could be more fucking. And he says, no, we'll go home, we'll resettle, we'll calm down. It's all fine. And so that's what they do. He picks them up and they fly back home again. Initially, when he gets them back home, he says, okay, why don't you go back into the living room or the library if you want. I think he says he's in a rental. His brother doesn't have a library. Go sit and enjoy yourself, and I will make some dinner. And they're like, hey, why don't we maybe do that after you pour wax all over me and fuck me? Okay.
I mean, you have my attention.
And he's like, I can't really say no to that now, can I? So instead, he decides he's going to do that. So he gets all set up. Sage has never done temperature play or wax play before, but Fitz is well versed in this. It is one of his kinks, and so he talks them through the process, makes sure that they are comfortable and safe with their safe words, etc. And then he uses multiple different colors of candles to basically paint them, and they love it. They think it's great. And then his favorite part, he has them hold perfectly still, and then he uses a knife to peel the edge of the wax and like peel it off of them in strips, which is its own kind of sensation play. And they love that just as much, if not more. After that sequence, like this, it was all awesome. He's edging the hell out of them. And then he gets out a vibrator. And he has, so I'm sure we maybe have seen this in porn before. I personally have. He has strapped their legs together with bondage tape, and then he used like the Hitachi, gets it right inside that tape.
From the top? So like are knees together?
Yeah, their knees are together.
Like mine are right now.
Yes.
And so is the coming from this
way? So like under this way? In this audio medium. Yeah, no. So from above, yes.
Here,
yeah. But he sticks the Hitachi handle into the tape to hold it there.
Okay. Gotcha.
There's a lot. We might have to cut some of that. So
fuck that.
Yeah. So he gives the vibrator. He situates it inside of the bondage tape so that it is pressed directly against their clit, and then they have like 4 orgasms in a row, but each time it is more and more intense, and he is helping them through it and talking them through it. And I'm pretty sure at this point he's also praising the absolute hell out of them, and they are crying both from how good they feel and from the praise. But even though they're saying like no and stop, they are not safe wording. And they are very specifically not safe wording. So he keeps going until like, holy crap. Like the end of this sequence I wrote down was, why does a Mothman need a breeding kink? I don't know, but it rules. It was a really great final sequence in that one. Once they're all finished, they settle in for the evening. He reheats some dinner, brings some TV trays into the bedroom. They watch more movies. They snuggle. But Sage is already sort of freaking out because the weekend is coming to an end soon, and they know it's coming to an end. And Fitz is so sweet and perfect and wonderful. They don't really know how to handle that. So the next morning, as they're getting ready to finish their weekend, or maybe it's even that night, I don't know, everything all ran together. Fitz tells them that he loves them, and they freak the fuck out. And they say a lot of hurtful stuff. They start with, "No, you don't." Like, "No, you don't. You absolutely. This is a weekend. It was a really great fuck sesh, but no, you don't." And then they say, like, he keeps arguing with them because he has legitimate reasons for why he may have feelings for them. But as they very quickly realize, like in the next chapter, this is them having an emotional breakdown because every person who loved them in their past pushed them away.
Yep.
And so now a new person is saying that he loves them.
Yep. So that's just the prelude to the leaving.
Exactly. Yeah. So they would rather he left before they had an opportunity to be hurt again. So instead, eventually, he agrees to help them pack their stuff, calls a taxi, and sends them on their way. And they regret it basically immediately. He is heartbroken.
Yeah.
Okay, and they regret it. I can't remember exactly what the order of events is, but it was like the very next chapter. They were like, "Oh fuck." So what they decide to do, because they are like emotionally freaking out, they're breaking down, they're trying to call Fitz and he's not answering.
Okay.
They call Luca, who is the barista's son, and they are freaking out so bad that Luca is like, okay, I'm coming immediately. All right, don't do anything. And he has them get in his car and drive right back to that cottage that they just left. But by the time they get back, Fitz is already gone.
It's hard when the person that you're into can just fucking fly.
I know, right? Exactly.
Just go out the back door, and go just straight up in the air.
Yep.
100 feet.
Yep.
Not far.
Fitz has what we as humans have not been able to figure out in terms of flying cars. He's got vertical takeoff.
Yep. Like a fucking Harrier.
Yep. So he could just go. And that's actually what he does. He ends up concluding his business, turning off his phone because he doesn't want to call Sage a bunch of times, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to call them a million times until they agree to come back. But he also doesn't want to. Yeah, little does he know. But he also doesn't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So he takes off. Instead of portaling home like he usually does, he decides to fly it from the United States to England.
Oh, God.
And I think it takes him a couple of days to do it. But in the meantime, Sage and Luca have the barista portal them directly to Fitz's home. So when Fitz lands in his front yard, Sage has set up a bunch of tiny little portable hurricane lamps and a big heart.
Oh.
And it's spelled out, "I'm sorry," in lamps, because he loves lamps, and that's just so fucking cute. I can't
It's the fucking cutest.
It's so he lands. They run out to meet him. There's a declaration of love. They pour their heart out. They apologize for what was very obvious, like, I was pushing you away because I was afraid, and also it really was just a weekend and bone sesh, but I also love you too. And they say that they do love him, and they want to spend the rest of their life with him if he will have them. And he says yes.
Fuck yeah.
And then they have sex about it right there in the lamplight in his yard.
And poor Luca's just standing there.
Oh, I don't think Luca's there. I don't think Luca's been there.
I'm pretty sure he's not.
While they're doing this, he asks them to make their mating official. And they're like, yeah, I guess. I've heard a little bit about it. And he says, "Oh, okay, well, unlike most monster matings, I don't need any of your blood.
Thank God for
Great.
that. Yeah.
That's cool because blood exchange was not in the TWs. He says, what I do is sort of similar to what the barista does, except a more intimate version of it. I'm going to connect our souls together.
Oh, could we do blood instead?
Like you do. And that's exactly what they do. And it is described as a very beautiful feeling, the sensation of it. He sort of wraps their souls together with magic. Sage cried, and then they both had orgasms, and it was wonderful.
Oh.
And delightful, etc. They declared their love. The end. And then there is an epilogue.
Of course.
2 months later, Sage is packing up their apartment to move to England with Fitz, and Luca and Layla arrive to facilitate the portaling. Layla is working on her portaling skills. Luca's just here for support and to say goodbye. They get into Sage's kitchen. Layla opens a portal, but she fucked it up, and she opened a portal directly into the fucking ocean.
Oh.
And the apartment is flooded.
Yeah.
And then they realize that there is a mermaid in the kitchen.
Yep.
And so they have to pick her up, get her in the bathtub, fill it full of water and salt, and call the barista because they actually need the barista's help. Layla fucked up. Okay. Layla fucked up. She's not perfect at it yet.
Yep. No, that's totally okay.
That's totally cool. And so the barista comes. He opens a portal for Sage and Fitz to go through, and he will fix the situation with the mermaid, who, for her trouble, has requested a matchmaking from the barista.
Yeah, of course.
And that will probably be book 15.
Yep.
And there you have it. That is A Little Spark of Flame by Clio Evans. Thank you so much.
That was fucking adorable.
I know, right?
I
It was
love
so
it.
cute. It was so good. Not usually, because we've only done this one other time. In Spooky Smuttober, what I like to do is ramp up. I like to start cute and goofy and then get wilder and more scary and end it with a horror erotica. So like last year, we ended it with
Till Death Do Us Part.
Till Death Do Us Part. And originally I was like, oh, this one is great, but it's not is it really spooky? Is it really Halloween-y? Is it too soft? Fuck that. The only person making these rules is me.
Yeah.
So why the fuck do I care?
It's our show.
This is my show.
Yeah.
And I needed a really fun, sweet, adorable, fantastically pun-filled story about the Mothman.
Yeah.
My own personal boyfriend, the Mothman.
That is correct. And I always defer to you on book choice.
Oh yeah, I know you do.
I could not care any less what book you read.
No, I know you don't. And plus next week, it's not like I've backed myself into a corner, because Devil's Pack again is a pitch black Omegaverse inspired by I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to close out Smuttober.
I always just want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're into it.
Ooh.
What are you into?
Nice. I was thinking about this earlier, and I think I'm going to go with Hey Now by Matt and Kim.
Wow. Pretty random.
I know. Well, because I couldn't think of anything. I really couldn't think of anything off the top of the dome that I haven't already talked about.
It's a great fucking song.
That song.
That band.
That's a great band. I can't think of a song I don't like by Matt and Kim.
Mm-hmm.
I loved their concert that we went to. It was one of the best concert going experiences I've ever had.
I would agree.
And if I need a guaranteed smile, Hey Now by Matt and Kim is going to do it.
Yeah. 100%.
Without fail. So good.
It is. I mean, I went through a phase. Depending, I don't know what the strata of that ongoing playlist is, but there's a chunk where I added my 6 or 7 favorite Matt and Kim songs. But the one that will always stick out with me is the one from their debut that you can't even really find much anymore. It's Fact.
Printed Stained.
Yeah, it's a Fact. Printed Stained is my personal all-time favorite Matt and Kim song.
That is a great song.
Yeah.
I like Hey Now because the bridge always makes me think of you.
we always win the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is nice. Plus, it's got that.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Anyway,
it makes me want to dance like a Charlie Brown character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. It's very bouncy.
Yeah.
What are you into, baby?
This week I have decided that I am into a video game that I have revisited, and that is Blasphemous.
Yeah.
It came out in 2019, I believe, from Game Kitchen, an independent studio, and released by Warp Digital Entertainment, if I remember correctly. It's sort of like if Dark Souls and Castlevania had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's a traditional 2D side scrolling. There's a lot of backtracking, like your Metroids and your Castlevanias. That's where the term Metroidvania comes from. Castlevania has the very classic 2D side scroller element, as does the original Metroid. Plus, Metroid had the whole concept of like you get to a point where you can't go further, so you have to backtrack to find the item that will help you get through that part.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That whole thing,
yeah.
Right? And that's what Blasphemous is, but it's all couched in this like deeply religious lore, but it's so inscrutable. Like none of it really makes sense, but the animations are fantastic. The action and the combat is really fun.
The imagery is Catholic.
Oh God! Wait until you see. I'm gonna play some. I'm gonna play some tonight after we're done recording. And wait till you see the boss that I'm current. Like I just have to go up a ladder and go in a door. You'll see this thing. It's fucking cool as shit.
I bet it is. I bet it is.
So I'm gonna post a trailer for that. I recently picked up the sequel for like $6 on sale. That's how long it's been since I've even tried this.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to start trying to clear the hundreds of games I have in my digital backlog. And so I'm starting with Blasphemous.
Heck yeah.
So
I
now
support you.
we know what we have on deck for next week.
Yes,
We've
we
said
do.
it several times, but let's do it like we always do.
Absolutely. Next week, we are reading Devil's Pack by Arsyn Quinn. And I am already 35% of the way through it, loving every second of it, and I can't wait to tell it to you.
And I can't wait to hear it. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads @CheapSmut. If you would like to send us an email, thanks. It's so nice. CheapSmutPod@gmail.com. If you look in the show notes, there's a link to our link tree. The top link is a link to this book. It is not an affiliate link. We do not get any money for it. But if you would like to support us financially, you can do so on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, like these fine folks have. Raven, Natasha Bear, Desiree Rodriguez, Local Mind Flayer Seattle, number 42, Bookworm, Vincent Sultanfuss, Kitsune Inc., Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you hear in this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Listener, remember, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she'll come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
Now I'm going to go sit on my couch. Bye.